Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a 2018 iteration of the Breitling Superocean Heritage 2, originally launched at Baselworld 2017. The Tudor power plant in the Breitling chassis is one of the most intriguing of dive watches you can purchase because it combines a superb style that's time-tested, now going strong since 2007, and the Tudor MT5612 movement doing business as the Breitling B203. So let's talk about this watch. 44 millimeters in stainless steel. It fits easily on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference. The watch has a comfortable feel and a planted stance. The lug spacing is broad and appropriately so, 22 millimeters, so it really does have a firm footing as well as a handsome symmetry between case size and lug spacing and width. The watch is relatively slim, though not overly so, at 14.6 millimeters, thick, a little bit better than average for a diver. It's broad across the wrist, 54.4 millimeters, but you will note how dramatically downturned those lugs are, and they do make a difference in the fit. I can wear this watch on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and I would say that this 44 is probably viable on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Now, the timepiece does feature a wonderful and weird strap. It's designed to look like the Ocean Classic mesh bracelet, and I can show you exactly what that looks like because I have one handy right here, and you can see that it really is a continuous unbroken rubber band in dark blue that has been molded to look like a mesh bracelet. A weird idea, but it's visually intriguing and somehow it fits. You can see on the underside, Breitling's smart about creating a little bit of a hollow for air to vent the wrist, and of course also removing some material to make the whole thing a bit more pliant. You have that straight bar vintage inspired design exactly as you would find on the actual Ocean Classic bracelet, and then you have a far better clasp than you're going to find on most of the Ocean Classic bracelets. Here's the clamshell system with multiple strap tool anchoring points that you find on the Ocean Classic bracelet. And now, here's the trigger released clasp that Breitling fits to this Superocean Heritage 2. Trigger release, no clamshell. Go inside, and what's this? It's a push button incremental sizing slider. How cool is that? Now, naturally, you can cut the strap to length, and you can use any of these different anchoring points built in. But the fact that you have a fine adjustment mechanism as well as a trigger release and nicely finished clasp body shows that Breitling does have the technology to issue an excellent clasp at a reasonable price. I don't know why every model doesn't use that design. That said, it's here, so if you like, I can recommend. The case is Superocean Heritage 2, which is to say no crown guards and a vintage-inspired oversized crown with the new Breitling B, now shorn of its wings. You can see that the lugs are strong, straight, and somewhat reminiscent of a Carrera. They provide the watch with a visual force. There's a nice blend between caseback thickness, bezel thickness, and mid-case, and this is something Breitling does well across models, balancing the different components to prevent the creation of a sheer and awkward side. Two strong character lines where the lugs abut the case, and then there's a little bit of a transitional bevel along the flank of the lug itself. Moving into the bezel, you can see that it's a captive bezel or a captured bezel, and let me demonstrate this to better effect. You can see that there are screws, you can see one right there, in the side of the bezel, and these fix the bezel to the case, such that if you accidentally hit something hard with force, you're not going to snap the bezel right off, unlike Rolex and Omega, for example, which use snap-on bezels. Let me see if I can get all this back in focus and give us some more light. Breitling uses that captive bezel design much like Zinn does to ensure that this thing isn't going anywhere. Now, there's a wonderful detent to this bezel. It's sharp, it's crisp, it's just the right amount of snap, the right amount of resistance without being difficult to budge. You know this one's going nowhere involuntarily. The knurling is small but sharp. You can really dig your fingers in if they're wet, sweaty, or gloved. You line up that luminescent index with the broadsword style minute hand, and now you have an impromptu 0 to 60 timer. I actually prefer dive bezels to chronographs. They're easier to read, and most chrono registers only go up to 30 anyway. Now, take a careful note of the material of this bezel insert. It is now ceramic, blue ceramic, so effectively as scratch resistant as the sapphire. The dial is high grade, but in the Superocean Heritage fashion, it features a vintage logo, minimal calibrations, baton-style indices, hand-applied, as well as minimally calibrated hash-only or index-only, that is no numeral bezel. So it has a vintage look with broad arrow hour hand and broadsword minute hand. The Breitling B, shorn of its wings for 2018. This is the new look, the new logo. The company wants you to think about sports watches for air, land, and sea, not just air now. Date disc, Monotone at 6 o'clock, nicely balancing the dial and replacing an index underneath the case back. This was a big story in 2017. Breitling caliber B20 Tudor MT5612, 28 joules, automatic winding, 70-hour power reserve, free sprung with a full balance bridge for shock resistance, silicone hairspring, 28.8 beat rate, hacking seconds, and a quick set date. All of this, as you can see, water resistant, and water resistant down to 200 meters. Breitling tells you that right there. This is a special piece. It has a little bit of grandeur about it, and it comes from a brand that, if anything, right now is a little bit underrated and overlooked. You can see and you can own one of the best kept secrets in dive watches, the Breitling Superocean Heritage 2, on the watch box. Breitling Superocean Heritage 2.